The first question I put is to the Attorney General. On the 12th of July 2013, the Minister for Education, Jennifer Rankin, announced there would be a Commissioner for Children and Young People who will be a high-profile independent advocate across the state. The proposal was initially welcomed by the Law Society, but further detail of your proposal, your party's proposal, shows it does not give the Commissioner powers to investigate matters on behalf of the children of the Commissioner, and the Commissioner is not truly independent. The government did not ultimately introduce legislation to establish the office of the Commissioner in the last Parliament. The questions are, is the Labor Party committed to appointing a Commissioner for Children and Young People in the next term of the Parliament? And if so, has the party been persuaded to ensure the Commissioner has an independent role and perhaps, as importantly, investigative powers? Mr. Chairman.
Well, thanks for that question. I was hoping that you would have asked me a question about some intricate matter in the health system, because I would have been equally able to provide a detailed answer about that matter. Look, the fact is that the situation with the Commissioner for Children is something that's dealt with by another minister. It is a matter that is within the Minister Rankin's area. There have been discussions about this topic, and I think before the month is out, we'll hear more about that.
Look, can I just ask you to comment on in particular on the question of investigative powers of the Commissioner? If you can't, it won't, so be it. But to explain to our audience, the Law Society's position when it made a submission is that there ought to be investigatory powers, because we took a view that potentially might stop conduct that was occurring towards children as undesirable, rather than an examination of what has occurred ex post facto, say per the Bell inquiry. That is not a criticism, of course, of the Bell inquiry that did its job, but it all occurred after the event. Do you have a comment about that?
Well, I understand the point. I understand the point exactly. But I come back to the point that you're asking me, even though I do have a number of portfolios, you're asking me about a matter which is not in any of them. Had I been prepared that that question was coming, I would have telephoned my colleague and found out what the latest position on that matter is.
Well, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. The fact of the matter is the government did ask for a submission from the Society, and we put it, but I accept that it falls outside your current portfolios. Can I turn to you as Shadow Attorney General, Mr. Wade? I think the Liberal Party has said something about this. What's the Liberal Party's position?
We have committed to a Children's Commission of investigative powers. It was the strong feedback of the government's own consultation on the, I think it was called the Child Development Bill. The government is the last government in Australia to establish a Children's Commissioner. Investigative powers are the norm. We've indicated in our policy commitment that we will support a commissioner with investigative powers.
Can I just ask this question? I don't know whether your policy detail goes to this extent, but one of the other concerns is that the Commissioner's position be truly independent, that is, not have its policy directed by a minister, and importantly, not have its funding curtailed by being contained within the budget of a particular minister. What's your position in relation to that?
I think probably the Attorney and I would have a similar view, which is that you can't give, even though an officer may be fully independent, you can't give them a blank cheque to spend what they like. The Supreme Court, Court Administration Authority, for example, its draft budget was significantly above that which was given to it. So I certainly don't believe that independent officers need to be able to write their own cheque. I certainly do believe that there is benefit in having, shall I say, governance officers, independent scrutiny officers located in the, if you like, answerable to the should we say, supported by the Attorney General rather than by their portfolio minister. So, for example, I would expect that a Children's Commissioner under a Marshall Liberal government would be housed and supported by the Attorney General's Department, as is the Ombudsman and so forth. I think there are that in a way that does protect the resourcing of the Commissioner, the independence of the Commissioner. If the Education Minister is displeased with the work of the Commissioner, the Attorney General is the one who considers their resource needs, not the Minister who's had to take the complaint.
Attorney, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I agree with Stephen about the point about opening funding. That's just not possible. And I think there is some wisdom in the idea that if there were to be such an office established, that the appropriate place would be for it to be in the same place as people like the Ombudsman and such like that. That is sensible. And if I was the attorney and it were to happen, I want to make sure I had a large allocation of money coming with it, so I wasn't expected to carve it out by existing resources.
Answer. Are there any questions from the floor on this?